This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You want to learn about CE5 and extraterrestrial contact? Download my new book, now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, and 14 other platforms. Book authored by Donald Ledesma. CE5, Frequencies of Contact.
Everybody, welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Don Ledesma, and welcome to today's show. It's gonna be a good one today, yeah. Today we're gonna be bringing on my good friend of mine, almost like a brother to me, Mr. John Dickinson. He had an amazing experience. We've had him on the show before, but there were some things that we got left out, that we didn't get to talk about. But before we get going on that, I just want to welcome everybody to Alien Strand Podcast. We're doing another podcast here on audio. We are not on video. We're only on audio. So, catch us on 26, 28 platforms of audio podcasting, right? SoundClouds, iHeartRadio, YouTube, everywhere. We're all over the Patreon. That's one of my favorites right there. Amazon Music. We're all over the place, But thank you, everybody, for listening to Alien Strand Podcast. As soon as I brought one up here the other day, we got a lot of downloads on that. Yes, thank you. I really appreciate that, because it goes a long way, for us to get the information out to as many people as possible. Yeah. And don't forget that we're after this podcast, or go to where it says information, you're going to see the link that's going to say all my links. Click on that. That'll take you to all the middle films. It'll take you to all of Alien Strand's pages, even our Facebook pages. We have a few of them there as well. So you can go check those out. Our YouTube pages, all of our social media is on all my links. All right. So go check that out as well. And after this podcast, I'll leave you a link as well to Mr. John Dickinson's Facebook page as well. If you want to talk to him and get a hold of him, you can as well. There's nothing wrong with that, because he's going to give you a lot of information on his experience that it was just so amazing to hear, all over again for me. But I just find his story so telling. It just gives you a lot of information, as we try to do here at Alien Strand Podcast. And if you are new to ufology, well, welcome to ufology. Welcome to Alien Strand Podcast, where we teach you a little bit about ufology, aliens, UFOs, Bigfoot, the paranormal. We don't dive too much into paranormal, but it kind of all connects, right? It does. I think it all connects together. But we try to do our best on trying to get all that information as possible. And I've talked about it before, even on my book, right? CE5 Frequencies of Contact. You can download that, on Amazon as well. Go check that out. And of course the films, the middle films. We got a trilogy going on right now. The middle part 1, the middle part 2, and the middle part 3 are all on Amazon Prime. Some of them are on YouTube for free, Fossum TV. Some are on Tubi TV. You can catch them there as well, right? For free, right? Go check those out. And thank you guys for watching those films. Now, today's concept story is not a concept. It's just the information that you're going to get out of today's story is going to be so in depth, and you're going to feel the emotions of Mr. John Dickinson and everything that he was going through as far as his extraterrestrial contact, right? Because that's what it was about, his contact. And I don't want to ramble too much on here, but I want you guys to catch the interview. We recorded this earlier, and it was a very great interview. It's a little longer than our usual segment, but you're going to get an extra 15 minutes because it's that good, right? So thank you guys for listening right now, and I'm going to go ahead and put that on there so you can listen to our conversation of John and myself as we talked about his experience with the extraterrestrial encounter and what came along with it and afterwards, right? Because it's an important thing to listen to as far as extraterrestrials. Now, you're driving out there, be safe on the road. If you're listening to this podcast, thank you. Please share it as well. And, if you get something out of it, hey, leave a comment there, even on Spotify. You can leave a comment there as well. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead and get going with our conversation with Mr. John Dickinson. All right, on the phone right now, we got Mr. John Dickinson, my real good friend. We've been a part of Alien Strand Disclosure Project for a long time. How's it going, my brother?
Hey, brother, how you doing tonight?
Good so far. I'm always working, of course. Everybody always sees that all over my Facebook. Sometimes when I don't post, people are like freaking out, like, hey, how come this dude's not posting?
Always on the go.
I know. So how you been out there? Where are you at now?
I am in Paris, Tennessee. I'm helping my daughter get set up here, and my older daughter just had a young girl, my granddaughter, and I've been helping hold the baby and change a diaper here and there.
Wow.
It's what an experience. I helped with the birthing process, so that really helped.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you and your daughter and the new grandbaby. I bet you that's pretty exciting.
She's something else. You can see the dreams of the world in her eye.
Wow. Yeah, it's nothing like being a brand new grandpa, or even as a dad, just having your first child, just seeing your first child for the first time. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Every single child that I have 5 children. I have 3 girls and 2 boys, right? And every single one, I cried. It's just like it didn't change anything for me. It's like I teared up on every one. I didn't cry like a baby, but I just I was tearing up because I was so happy.
The beauty of life just wells out.
It is. So if people don't know about you or didn't get to hear our last podcast, we had what was it last year? We talked about an experience that you had out. Where were you in what part of state were you at? And was it? Arkansas or
in a town called Parsons, Tennessee.
Oh yeah,
right along the Tennessee River. Now, before we get started, I want to just tell you that I'm sorry. The last time we went into this interview and we got to a certain point, and it was time to come clean, and you asked me if they were still in touch with me. I felt that that I was aware of them around in some way or another, and I just said, no, that's it. Experience over, and we ended the interview.
Right.
But the truth is it gets so deep that I question it, and this was acknowledged towards the end of my deal with them, was that I was like, I'm going to tell the world. This is crazy. And the humorous part of it, I felt, was that no one would believe it because it's so extravagant.
Right, and that's.
I think of it now, and it's like a different life. It really is.
Yeah, it happened to you when you were a teenager, correct? Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I was around 17 years old. I was in Spitfire shape, riding dirt bike, three-wheelers, and living the dream, I guess, and looking forward to going in the Navy. And about a little bit before going in, I had the experience in the field.
Right.
And
right. Okay. Well, let's brush up on that a little bit. So people that haven't heard your story, we can just kind of touch up on that a little bit. So, what happened?
Some people wouldn't be wearing.
So what happened to you that evening? Do you remember the date, month?
Well, it's towards the end of summer. Every here and there you see like a leaf trying to turn brown or something, but it was 60s, 70s. I'm in an open field, getting dark. It was on the brink of getting dark, and in this field there's probably 10 to 15 acres of rolling grass. The state would come through. Tennessee Valley Authority comes through, and they would trim it down with bush hog, maybe twice a year. So it was a nice place to get out on your bike and kind of putt around. And of course, I was on a racing bike, so I wasn't going slow usually. And you could probably catch a deer in the middle of the field, and it wouldn't hurt the deer or nothing. But you could chase them around, and they could turn better than you could. So it usually was short. But anyway, that's against the story. I was in the field. I saw a giant chip, maybe half a mile from me.
Wow.
Just no sound, no nothing. I couldn't believe my eyes. It glided by. It wasn't like flying fast or nothing. It was just hovering, probably 50 mile an hour, 75.
Was it
And
glowing?
I watched it for several miles, and it went around the bend of some trees, and I just thought, wow, that is, that's crazy. I couldn't. I was trying to come to grips with it, and I heard something behind me, like it sounded like a tree branch breaking, or a small piece of plywood being cracked.
Right.
I turned around, and there was a craft behind me.
Oh wow!
A little bit off the ground. It was clearing the treetops. It wasn't making a sound at all, and it moved over closer towards me, and it came to a stop, and a low, dim kind of white light was shining on the ground. It's probably 4 or 5 foot wide on the ground.
Wow.
And I walked up to it. I got maybe 10 minutes of staring at it. But I felt like there was expectation. It's do something or don't do nothing at all is the way I was looking at it. And I watched a lot of movies and TV, and my curiosity got the best of me. I went up and started waving my hand in the light and maybe kicked my foot over into it, or just get close to me, get up and see if I could smell it.
Right.
And I stepped into it, then it was like pow. It's like I was how would I describe it?
Now
it was thick. Everything was slow motion. There was no beating or flailing. I mean, it was slow.
Right. I hear a lot of that. I hear a lot of people that do experience the actual I'm not going to say an abduction because you actually walked in, but
I went willingly.
Yeah, you went willingly, But some people that get abducted, they have this sense of being in slow motion, or that sort of. Some people are paralyzed, right? But you were able to walk.
There was no air.
There was no air, and it was very dense, right? It was
no air.
It was just thick.
Yeah.
Right, and I hear that a lot.
I can see where someone if someone gets caught in something like that, and you hear people say, "Well, one memory they had is that they had no air, they couldn't breathe," and
right.
I think that might play into it some.
I believe it does. It's and like I said, even some have that stop animation, almost like where you're just floating in there without able to move, and they say that the air is so thick in there it's hard to breathe, and and there's like a lot of moisture on some stories. Now let's go forward with your story. So you went in, and you said that it was like a flash of light, and then you were in slow motion, and then so what else happened after that?
I don't know. Maybe I was in that light. I didn't feel like I was going up or down or anything. I was kind of looking at my arm and my hand, trying to move around. And next thing, just let me see, probably about 15 seconds, 20 seconds, It wasn't a real fast deal. And then I was up, and it was like the light was gone, and I was standing on the surface.
Wow.
A dull, silver kind of. I don't know. It looked like older aluminum or something. I don't know.
Right.
There wasn't any sound. You couldn't stomp the floor and make any noise or nothing. It was.
You ever seen like
You could smack surfaces and it would.
You ever seen like a pizza dish, a pizza pan, like when they go to those restaurants where they have the pizza on that plate, on that silver plate?
Yeah.
And it has that real dull,
the dirtiness of it.
that dull silver. But I'm just thinking about the color of it, like a dull silver.
Yeah.
Is that like what you were seeing? Something like that kind of color?
Kind of like the side of a grain bin.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little darker. I mean, there's different shades of those things, grades, but it wasn't shiny, and it didn't look dirty. It just a piece of metal. I was standing in a circle where the light beam would have gone down, and you could tell where something opened or cut. There was a seam that went all the way around.
Right.
And it was. I was standing in front of what looked like a broom closet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there wasn't a hanger or nothing, but it was maybe 4 foot deep, 5 foot deep. You have to duck slightly to get in there, but there were some drawers in there, like indentions in the material you could reach into. I didn't pull with nothing, but then I backed up, and then I had the main craft. It was ovular on the inside, maybe 7, 8 foot tall at its peak in the center. There was a table in the center. There wasn't when I first got there. It's a crazy part. There wasn't a table there right away. When I first went in, it was
right.
It was. I was walking around looking at what trying to find out what I could see. There wasn't anything really going on. There wasn't any gauges, material. There was only one door in the back of the craft, and it was shorter than I was, and then pretty skinny door. And then it's like I turned around and the table was there. And I lost my track of time. I really did. I was there. It felt like maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and I started getting kind of sleepy.
Wow.
Just weary. Just,
so you were.
I had to sit down.
Okay, so you felt some exhaustion, like you were tired. A little sleepiness. Do you remember any smells or anything like that inside the craft?
Seems like I smelled something. I can't put my finger on it. My sense of smell's gone now, as it is. So
right.
It seemed like that. I've thought about that because I've heard of other people saying, "Hey, well, I smelled sulfur or ammonia." I grew up in a house with open bottles of ammonia. My father was an architect, and his printing machine required a lot of ammonia.
Oh wow. Wow.
So that smell's been around me all my life. I don't know, but no, I don't remember. I can't be quoted saying any kind of a smell.
Wow. Did you feel any kind of vibration or anything like a humming noise or any low frequencies if you could remember that you heard inside of there?
No. What I was amazed with was the light the light panel on the right side when I walked in. It was beautiful. I mean, I just wanted to stand there and look at it. The lines were the whole every color seemed like.
Wow.
And they were wavy, and some of them were straight up and down, and they were moving really slow. And trying to think if it was from left to right, really, but it was moving really slow. And it was me.
So did you?
That was. They were already in my head.
Oh, so but when you were in there, did you feel like you were standing in there by yourself in an empty room?
At first, yeah. I felt, like, where's the camera?
Right.
Okay, a door's going to open any second, and the nurse is going to come in, kind of thing. I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. I was smart enough that if they were going to kill me or something, they could have just got me on the ground. Why bring me on in there? Yeah. But I don't know. I was open-minded. I was curious, and the ship was nothing moved. There was no movement, and I only felt it move a couple times. The period that I was in that one, I only felt it shift a couple times,
At what point, or do you remember at any time that when you started seeing the actual extraterrestrial or being that was in there with you?
Yeah, I woke up. I wound up going to sleep. I was in there long enough, and I woke up and there was one, somewhat upside down, looking with me looking kind of up, kind of leaning over me, and there was one on my right. And I don't know. There was a third. I feel there was a third being in there, but they were just probing around, just feeling it, more or less staring at me, looking into my eyes.
Yeah.
The looking in the eyes was a big deal. I couldn't move my arms. I didn't have the energy to do anything. I mean, I was theirs.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Do you feel like they took over? They took over your consciousness or anything to where they were able to control you at that moment after you went to sleep and then you woke up. In other words, they were already. I'm not going to say the word pro, but it was like they were tapped into you already to where they were able to fully control you at that sense. Were you getting that kind of feeling?
Yes, I felt like there was essences. Like, I'd get a strong feeling like it would wash over me, like everything was going to be fine. This is their job. Just relax, it'll be over soon. It'll all be over. That was kind of what I was getting at first.
Wow.
Just, relax, we know what we're doing kind of thing. I didn't hear any words. I just got these feelings, these overwhelming feelings, essences of thoughts.
Wow.
And,
yeah.
They pushed some stuff into my head. I remember they pushed something in there. Someone asked me before if if it hurt or anything. I felt pressure.
Right.
Like someone take their thumb and jab something into your scalp. It was that kind of pressure.
Wow.
And
they
tubes, and it scraped my skin. It opened my mouth several times. Something went up my nose. Something went in my penis, anus.
Yeah.
They tested everything.
Everything.
And I was fine with it.
Wow.
I was like, man, you hair, you want some more skin? You need to, I'll help you out. I was being like the best sport in the world, I think.
Wow. Well, I mean,
I didn't feel like I was at home,
Well, I guess you weren't horrified at what was happening to you. Maybe that's probably why. Let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back after this message.
Be right back.
Shadows crawling across the ceiling, burning lights can't stop the feeling. Cold hands are pulling me away. Words unspoken, I decay. Who are you standing in the haze? Who are you standing in the haze? Sun watchers, eyes ablaze. Visitors in the dark, they take me. Live upon my heart, forsake me. Visitors in the dark, no escaping.
All right, welcome back to the show. We have Mr. John Dickinson as we're talking about his extraterrestrial encounter and a possible abduction. Now, we were getting deep into this where your story was continue on with how they had you in a trance sort of state, and they were doing experiments on you where you were okay with it, right? It's pretty much, is this what was happening at that point?
Yeah, I started feeling drugged. I did. I felt like I was drugged or something. I felt slow to do anything. I didn't have any energy. All the feelings and thoughts coming to me were, good. Just relax. Won't be long. When I immediately started when it was coming to a close, I was like, "Can I help? Is there?" I mean, is that it? Is that all? You know?
Right.
And yes, you know, well, look, is there any way I can help? Is there any, you know, okay, can we go somewhere? Show me some. And it was, you know, well, what can you do? How do you think you can help us? And my first thing was, well, I got muscles. You know, I'm bigger than you are. I mean, I'm sure I can do something for you. You know, I mean, it's a whole big universe in my mind. You know?
Well, let's talk about what did they look like? What did these extraterrestrials look like?
They didn't have a nose.
Okay.
They were the gray, bulbous heads. They looked, the way their eyes were sloped in, it looked like they were pissed.
Uh-huh.
Little slit for a mouth. They didn't breathe, but every so often. The air on the ship was thin. That's what I wanted to bring up too. As soon as I was on the ship, after I walked a few steps, I was tired. So the air was thin.
Right.
And his eyes. As soon as if our eyes met each other, it's like I fell into them. I don't know. There's a whole reality around us that we can't perceive. We can't. You know, I hear about our DNA being fooled with and telemagnetic caps and things like that, but there's a whole realm around us that we just can't see and feel or have access to that they have.
Like they're able to jump into different dimensions and sort of way of where they're able to lock into the future and in the past. I've heard that as well. You know, so now since your story thickens as this goes along. Yeah. Now, did you think that you were going to go home at that point, or did they send you home, or what came next?
Let's see. I was on there, woke up, had somewhat of a conversation with one. The other two were kind of close to the end of the door. I was probably about 5 or 10 feet away, about 10 feet away from the other two. I'm near the broom closet, and along that wall there were some indentions on the wall itself. There weren't any buttons or anything, but it looked like some kind of panel. But there was only like room for his fingers in a couple of spots, and he just put his left hand in it, and he didn't move. And I felt the craft shift, and the other two left the room. And it was time for us to kind of talk more. It was, you know, when you sleep, you're getting a good REM sleep.
Right.
And it feels like you lived a whole lifetime, and then someone will say, well, you only sleep for 10 minutes.
Right.
You know, that was the kind of time variety I was dealing with. When I was being carried along in this mental state, it was a dream state, you know. And I've heard I heard one other person make a remark that we are living in the dream, that the other realm is the reality.
Right.
And somehow deep in me, I feel that.
I think that's
because when I was there, it was beautiful. Dude asked me, have you had something scary? What's scary in your life, or have you had something that's been scared you real bad? And I'd take him right away to an accident that I had on a motorcycle, you know, and we would live it real time. I had to redeal it again.
Wow.
And he was all for the emotion. It was. I say him, but I don't know. I really don't.
Well, I mean, it's they're able to. I think maybe their dimension, since they're saying that we're in the, let's just say the sleep dimension, to where we are, as we think we're conscious right now,
right.
But to them we're not conscious. We are in our subconscious, and they're able to control that, right? In other words, like almost like a hypnotist in a sense, to where when they put you under, and they're able to control you and your senses and what you can taste and what you're not tasting and what you think you're seeing in front of you. So I believe that right,
yeah.
they have that perception to total control the human body or the human brain or anything like that, because they're so I'm not going to say advanced, because we've heard many stories that they are us from the future, right? And things like that. Different. I've heard hundreds of different stories on the Greys and the extraterrestrials. But the point that you're saying here is that they had total full control, almost like you were in a dream state. But
yes.
They're telling you think you're in reality, but you're not, right? And to some people,
it was like I was swimming in syrup.
Right.
Compared to being in that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why they're able to jump in and out of it when we see these ships pop in and pop out, or we don't see them, but they're there, right?
No doubt.
And so after that, you're having this deep conversation with them. It's telling you about you, about yourself.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on, if you don't mind. There's one thing that's been bothering me. Well, not bothering me, but it's been a big question to me. Okay, now I went through this. I'll print it as an example. I went through this motorcycle crash experience, and then not making it to the top of the hill, it was terrifying, and then let him experience that with me, and then move off to do something else, and then when I asked to go back and do another scary one again, I had an even better one on like I thought of even scarier one that he would freak out on. And he said, well, the one we started to do it again, and it was the same crash that I had showed him the first time. And when I said something about doing a different one, he said that's the one he had on file.
Oh, wow.
That's the one that he had. I can't make it out.
So
did I pick that memory, or did they pick it in the first place?
Yeah, that's what
I don't know.
Yeah, they were tapped into you already. In other words, they already knew your memory. They probably knew all about you from birth until our end, right? So
one glance in the eye.
Right. But in that situation that you're in, you're having this conversation. Are you sitting up or you're still laying down?
Oh, I'm sitting up. I'm actually when he was at the table, I was standing next to him when he put his hands in the thing, and the other two went out. Then he I just got this feeling like, just wait here, this is you're safe. I'm safe here. And he left. It left. She left. And the little door closed. It was fast.
Right.
Those doors were fast, man. Yeah, and I went and sat on the table, and I could still feel him in my mind.
Wow.
I could still feel him kind of probing around, kind of curious as to what I was doing, and I never felt alone. And I don't know how long I sat. Hours, 30 minutes. Who could tell? I was in kind of locked into their state of mind where I felt like I was safe, like I was in a tree house, kind of a clubhouse. Nothing's going to bother me here.
Right.
I'm just going to lay down on the table again and try to catch a nap or something wherever we're going. I mean, I was really to the point where I was so tired.
Now,
the mental thing really wore me out. Now,
as you were talking about, is there anything you need from me? They took you and they said, okay, the story that when we talked about the last time, that they ended up taking
here we go.
They took you and you left off world. In other words, you left off the planet of Earth.
We were gone.
And you were gone. So they took you. And as you were traveling in the ship, were you able to see space or the things that were flying by, or did it just happen in an instant moment to where you were from here to there?
No, I felt like I was on a pretty good trip. There was they didn't do it right this first time, but there was I don't know if it's all these ships or what, but they can make it where you can see outside the ship. It's just a spot open up, maybe 6 feet in diameter, on the first ship, because it was bigger. But it was like pure quiet. The only thing I could hear was my heartbeat.
Wow.
You'd walk around slapping material and trying to see what was up, and I didn't want push anything wrong, you know. But there was nothing to push, nothing. It was just a flat surface all around, you know. It was rounded, but I kind of got worried after a while. And I was like, well, this. I hope they understand that I'm perceiving this as a long time. I mean, I don't know. I started getting paranoid,
right?
That that things weren't gonna be going as I expected, and it wasn't long. I had one come in, and once again, once you plug in that, look them in the eye, and then they would take me in, and it was like you in your mind, you could. It was dream world. I mean, that's where I wanted to go. That's as long as I was with them, as long as I was plugged into their network, it felt like, you know, I was safe and everything was fine. But they took me. Now, some of these things, you know, and my whole ordeal, the sequence of things could be off, or the smell may be a little bit different. Red might have been green, but you know, all this is how it happens. And we stopped and we stopped somewhere, and I was extremely light, and there was the little aliens. It looked kind of like the big ones, but wrinkled up more, and they were really small. They were like 6-7 inches tall, maybe 8. I mean, just thinking back now, they're something just devastating had happened there, and there were little, kind of like miniature mud huts, and then some of them were like nice, kind of like you see in the Middle East, kind of like pressed mud type adobe. Right. Yeah, it was really nice, and they had pointed ceilings. It was they had a little circle, and half of the town was like crunched. And my job was what I gathered, because it's not like when I went down there was someone talking to me, standing next to me. It was just like all of a sudden I'm standing there.
Right.
And the feelings I got were to help clean up, just to clean this mess out of the square. And I'm just walking around picking up rocks in my hands and throwing them, scattering. There were some big boulders around. I got them out of the way. They weren't heavy. Everything was light. It was kind of like Hollywood bricks or something. I don't know. It was strange. But it had been a while since I'd eaten. I was starting to get edgy. I regret this, and I felt bad about this ever since. I stepped on one. I was in a hurry. Yeah. And I had to walk maybe 40 or 50 foot, and I'd throw this stuff and then come back. And I was in a hurry. I picked up and I turned around and make another trip, and I had stepped on one. You know, and I jerked my foot up real quick, and I tell you, I could feel the consciousness of the whole gang.
Wow.
I just felt like a million people just went, oh no, you know.
Yeah.
I felt bad, you know. I just stayed still. I didn't know what else to do. I stayed right there. One of them came out and hit me with something. And a little stick, I don't know, a little man, like a little guy like that, a girl, whatever it was. But it came out and hit me. The air at this point, I'm telling you, it's still thin, and I'm in that light. Now, I told you before, the rest of it, everybody else didn't know about it. But as long as I was in this light, I was able to receive at least a minimum amount of air,
of oxygen. Okay, so you had to stay in that light. In other words, don't get out of that light, because if not, you would have probably died, or in that you won't be able to breathe. So they were kind of giving you some sort of a life support, in a sense,
exactly,
with that light. Now, as strange as it sounds, you know, that you're on a different world, on a different planet, and it took you a while to get there, and you know,
I can't believe it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I still can't. I'm telling you, the stuff it's the truth, and then, you know, the whole thing, when I look back on it, it's like, holy crap, you know.
And the people that are listening here today on the show, you know, that it's hard for them to even think about of something like that happening to someone, because the stories that we usually get are just real quick. They'll just take them, wipe their memories, They're back at home. I don't know what happened.
Right.
I think I met one or two, or I saw this, and they did these horrible
Yeah,
things to me, and then I was done, right? But yours goes into depth, right? You're experiencing something in a conscious and a subconscious state as well, to where they're making it to where you are experiencing a full experience of time. In other words, that
They gave me the whole tour.
they gave you the whole tour of everything, right? So
Yeah, they took me to a bunch of different places. I mean, of course, we know about, you know, the number of stops and whatnot. But they took me different places, and we would be there, and I wouldn't even know it. That's how good the ship moving around was.
Wow. Hey, well, let's take a quick break, and we'll get back to our amazing conversation. We'll be back in
You got it,
just
Chief.
a minute. Here we go.
Shadows crawling across the ceiling, burning lights can't stop the feeling. Cold hands are pulling me away. Words unspoken, mind taken. Who are you standing in the haze? Who are you standing in the haze? Silent watchers, eyes ablaze. Visitors in the dark, they take me. Rip apart my heart, forsake me. Visitors in the dark, no escaping. Silent screams, no one saving. Metal walls and a sterile glare.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're talking to Mr. John Dickinson as he's explaining an extraterrestrial experience that he had many, many years ago as a teenager. And as we get deep into the conversation right now, that, you know, we were talking about how the experience that he had when they took him off world into a different planet and a different place where he experienced and saw other different extraterrestrials out there. And the time level was expanded to him as what they were doing and what they were showing him, everything they showed him, but they were using him as sort of like labor work. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was a blue collar. I was there to do the heavy lifting. That's what I promoted anyway. You know, to kind of pay for my trip. I guess it was an application to work with them in essence. You know.
Well, you know, as it is, you're already having a strange experience, because one moment you're riding your motorcycle, the next moment you're standing in front of a light, and you're standing in front of a craft. You go in, and then all this thing starts taking place, one by one, and here we go. Right, you're on the table. They did experiments on you. They checked you, almost like what they do with the astronauts, right? When before they go into space, they go through this physical and they check.
They tag me.
Yeah, and they do everything to make sure that they're ready, right? So maybe this is what they were doing to you, because they knew that you would probably say, "Hey, I can go help you," right? I'm strong, like you said,
Right.
And they already knew that was coming. So maybe this is why they were preparing you for what was about to come. Now, you said you accidentally stepped on one. I guess you killed it. And
I don't know. I don't know.
And well, maybe we don't know. You still don't
maybe
know.
it was
And they
detrimental. It was a detriment. I mean, they were all upset about it.
They frowned about it. So what happened after that? You get back in the ship. And you leave at that moment?
Yeah, I was there a little while longer. I finished picking up some stuff, but I felt like, the visit's over kind of thing. And everyone was kind of, they were solemn. They were grouping in different areas, and I was just standing still. And then it was like I could see the little white circle on the ground. I held my breath. So you had to take a deep breath before you stepped into it. That was the trick that I figured out. I took a breath and stepped into it, 5 seconds later, maybe, roughly, you're inside the ship, and then it was, couldn't even feel it leave. You just, what next?
Almost like, did it feel like, I'm kind of thinking about it as you talk about it. Is it almost like if you didn't inhale and hold your breath, did it feel like somebody knocked the hell out of your stomach and all your air came out? Did it kind of feel like that, or when you didn't take a breath or hold your breath?
It wasn't a vacuum. I mean, it just, there was no air in there.
Wow.
It's like trying to blow against a piece of glass.
Right.
I mean, it was that tight.
Right.
So it was just, there was no air, no nothing. I don't know if it's some kind of antibacterial thing or what they've got, you know, who knows with their technology. There was no air, and then I was inside, and I was kind of thinking, well, the air's a little thicker in here, thank goodness. You know, the air down there was real thick. You'd move a little bit, and you'd be out of breath. I had to meditate. You know, when at first I got paranoid because the air was so thin, and I was about to hyperventilate.
Wow.
You know, I was worrying so much, and then I had to just really sit and meditate to think about my breathing and to just try and slow my heartbeat down, because that's really all I could hear. It was just the beating of my heart.
You know, and that's and now that you're explaining all this, and you know, I'm thinking about it. You know, to me, it's like you're conscious through all this, and you're remembering everything. You were worried about your breathing. You were worried about, you know, choking to death. You were getting anxiety attacks. Of course, anybody would have gotten an anxiety attack.
They told me I would remember.
Yeah, and you're remembering all of this that was happening for you in a conscious state, right? So, and so what happens after the whole ordeal takes place?
See, we left there. I know that we came. I think it was Earth. We came back there. There was one time. Now I remember this. I had a note here written down. I should tell you this. There was a point where I'd gone a long time without drinking anything. I was really thirsty, and at this point, we're gonna meet the blonde people. I hear people call them Nordics. I hear all kinds of different terms for them. Right. The beautiful girl. There were two of them. One was a guy, and the other one was the gal, and she was tending to me. Never spoke, never know nothing, but the feelings in my mind were still strong. Relax, don't worry. This is what we do. You know, kind of like saying I'm a professional, right. But it's trying to give me a little credential. You know, like don't worry.
Right.
And because I'm having trouble breathing as it was, you know, and start panicking over that, it was not good. So I tried to relax, and I met her. I wish I could go back under hypnosis, because every now and then I'll have a dream of her. Every 6 or 8 months, a couple times a year, I'll have this really vivid, happy dream. Wow. Just like I'm being reunited or something. It's like I can't run fast enough to hug her. I just don't. It's happened a couple times a year.
Yeah.
And the last time was the message about meditation to make things happen, something about making things happen for you.
So when you dream, so these Nordics or Palladian kind of looking folks, are they like the as tall as us, or a little bit taller?
Taller. She was tall. She had a good 3 or 4 inches on me.
Okay.
I mean, she my line of sight would have been right at the crease of her neck and the butt tricep there, or whatever.
Wow. Okay, she was pretty tall then.
She was a little taller than me. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying a lot. Just I meant she didn't she had kind of like these little shoes on, but they weren't thick. You know.
Right. Now she made the connection with you, and did the male, did he make a connection with you as well?
No,
just her.
No, he was a shut door. He was doing his job, and I could see him kind of look over to see what we were doing.
Right.
Her and I, we were. She was everything to me at that point. She was. I mean, she looked like someone on planet Earth. I mean, someone come off the beach, you know. I mean, but she was really white. You know, when a blonde person goes out in the sun, they hadn't had any sun in a couple of years, and they step out and get a good dose.
Yeah.
That blue light, that blue,
real pale,
that blue layer, that blue, yeah, that color.
Wow.
It was that color.
That's pretty. That's a bright. That's a light color. That's there, and we've seen people like that. You know, that haven't had sun in a long time. You know, where it does. You know, people do look like that as well. But you know, but the connection that she had with you is like, you know, even afterwards, even after you came back, and now you're talking about that you've had several dreams of her every maybe 3 to 6 months, and every dream
most realistic.
And mostly, and what she's doing in the dreams is giving you information, right? It's like she's trying to open your mind up to something.
She's trying to help. It's never just run and hug and go, you know, swimming or, you know, do anything. It's always her communicating to me without speaking. I don't know, giving me ideas. The last one that really stuck with me it was about a chant. Something I remember the name Isis was in it. It was a chant with the Anunnaki crew that I've recognized over time, because I have, at one point they let me view other lives that I've had. And a good glimpse. Some lives I didn't even want to go. I didn't want to touch. I recognized them and got away with it. Got away from them.
Right.
And there was one where I was in Egypt at one point, and it didn't seem good.
Do these
didn't seem fun? I don't know what I do.
Did these people, or Palladians or Nordics or whoever they are, did they have like an angelic feel to them, or do they just feel like they wanted to help? In other words, a sense of trying to communicate with you so that way you can, you know, just kind of.
They had an agenda. I felt like I was they were doing a job. You know, if a mailman's picking up mail, he picks up an envelope and sets it to the side. It's still important, but you know, he's got other stuff to do. That's the way I felt.
Okay.
I mean, her and I, she connected with me. I couldn't. That was everything to me. They took me. It came down to her and I a lot, and I was taken down to another place I told you about to do more rock lifting. That's the best I can to say. But there were other humans there. There were other humans, and I saw one more on the ship. That's another show. But,
right.
There were other humans there, and one thing I wrote a note down here I was going to talk about a little bit with you more, but it may be too graphic. I don't know. It was about us eating.
Right.
It was like half a cow split open, and it was whatever you could tear off, you could eat.
Raw.
Basically. Yeah.
Raw.
And I made jokes with him, like, you know, I was given the feeling like it's okay, nothing, you know, it's substance, you know, you can eat it, you eat it on the planet, it's just not cooked.
Right.
And I made a joke about bringing barbecue, you know, just take me back for a few sticks of wood, I'll come up here and barbecue, have the first barbecue pit kind of thing going. And that they can't burn fire there. That was not even a chance. So,
and
it was
as your story goes forward, right? I mean, you all eat, and then of course you some bad things happen when you were there.
The one of them ate with us. I was standing off to the side. There was 3 or 4 humans, kind of. I don't know that they spoke English. It seemed like the one guy I made a connection with, he was foreign, but I can't get what his accent was. Him and we became good friends, and I promised him that I'd find him.
Right.
that one day I'd find him, and I wouldn't even know where to start. You know what I mean? But
Right.
and if he left me clues, I didn't forget them. But him and I were the strongest at tearing at parts to eat that didn't look, too disgusting. It was a messy job.
Yeah.
I had that long tail tennis shirt on with the long, it looks like a strip hanging down off the back, kind of like a tux.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I wiped my hands. That's what gave me the idea to use it as toilet paper, because I was wiping my hands on that.
Wow.
And I just count on it drying, and I can brush it off. But
so during this whole
ahead.
time when you're experiencing everything that's happening to you, right? You've even seen a dead human being as well on a different planet, and these
On
the ship as well, and you've felt a lot of different things were happening. And during the whole time, since the moment you got abducted or that you left to the ending moment to when they bring you back, how long was the time span for you?
It felt like I was gone for months. It did. I lost track. Every now and then, it seemed like about once a week, I'd say it feels like a month since I've been gone. It is a long time. Then you think of all those memories I went back and relived along the way in real time. It felt like, I was living a whole nother existence. It felt like,
wow,
at that point. I didn't know if I was going to stay, man. I asked one of them, how long has it been? How long? And he said, does it matter?
There is no time.
He didn't answer me. Just does it matter?
Wow.
And that's the one I was about to tell you. Yeah, I was watching the others try to eat and whatnot, and I was kind of wiping my hands off. And I connect with this one. He's like a real dark maroon. He was, I don't know, he was older or had more clout. I don't know. He was real dark, and I asked him what he eats. What do they eat? Aren't they going to eat a bite? Do they eat this stuff? And he didn't really say. He wasn't saying anything. He was like, "Yes, let me show you," but I'm not. It's frowned upon that I show you this kind of feeling I got.
Right.
And he pulled that. It looked like a skull can. It was a little bigger than a skull can, a little deeper, and he pulled out like a paste and smeared it on his left arm.
I talk about that. I talk about that a lot. On a
That's
lot
him
of
eating.
and a lot of my podcasts, I talk about how they have like a vat of this stuff that they pick up from animals and everything like that, and there's a paste that they put on their skin.
It's a black paste.
Yeah, it's a paste that they put on their skin, because I've read a few articles about these scientists that have studied these extraterrestrials in the past since the 1940s, that they said that they put this paste on their skin and it absorbs an enzyme and that's how they eat, because they can't eat.
I saw a little lip overlap on his arm. Part of his skin raked down across the skin of the other below it, and it was eating. The skin was moving.
Wow.
It was like a little, like a couple of little mouths with a big top lip or something, and it would reach over and scoop into it. But if you were to just look at it, it looked like a scar or something.
That's just would be something so bizarre to see, right? And
it was.
I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, how does that happen? Or, I mean, how did they make you like that? You know what I mean? It's like, I would be freaking out just seeing that. What you just said, explained. That's the story. That's the freaky part about this, about your story, that you're able to.
Yeah, I'm asking questions along the way.
Yeah, and that's good. That was a good thing. Let's go ahead and take another break. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back after this message.
Shadows crawling across the ceiling, burning lights can't stop the feeling. Cold hands are pulling me away. Words unspoken, eyes ablaze. Visitors in the dark, they take me. Rip upon my heart, forsake me. Visitors in the dark, no escaping. Silent screams, no one saving.
All right, welcome back to the show. As me and John are talking about his extraterrestrial experience and leaving the planet and just having this, I'm not going to say an adventure, but more like an experiment of some sort that they used him for. So as we were a tool, yeah. As we're talking about this, we were talking about how they were eating and how they put this paste on their skin and how freaky and how weird that looked like. We just kind of, it's kind of hard to imagine now.
I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
That would just be strange. So I mean, not seeing something eat normally, like we see a cat or a dog or a bear or whatever, alligator or whatever. We see them eat normally, with their mouths, and then when you see something put on its skin, and then there it goes. It's eating that way, and that's just strange. Yeah,
he did that twice. He did it the one time with me, and then maybe 30 minutes later, I looked and there was nothing, no action. And I saw, I kind of caught it. His moving around kind of caught my eye. I saw him smear some more on there.
Wow. Well, okay, so let's talk about when they brought you back. So the moment that they brought you back, when they brought you back, and you said it felt like months had went by.
Yeah, well, they brought me back once, and there was a farm lady, and she helped me. This is right after I helped the little people, whatever hurt them. That's after I helped them. I was hungry, and I came to some like backwoods, olden time style house, and it was just surrounded by woods, and there was some lady there, and she didn't speak my language. She just really didn't say much at all. It's like she was doing her job. I guess her husband was gone to war, dead. But gone, and she fed me, and I drank a bunch of his. She opened the cabinet, and this like crappy wooden house, and the dirt floor, fireplace right in the center, and there was like a cabinet door she opened up, and there was a couple of old looking bottles. And I drank bottles of his stuff, and she got mad because I got drunk. She got mad because I got drunk, and when I showed up there, I was wearing like next to no clothing because the last stop, I had to tear a bunch of it off. Right.
So you drank Daddy's stash. That's what happened.
Yeah, and when people started showing up, and he got home, I was back in the ship. He was mad. Screaming. Him and her were slugging it out, fist fighting.
Oh,
and
no.
He was like coming for me, and then I was gone.
Wow.
And only when I was in despair.
Wow.
When my blood pressure really got to racing, they would bring me right back. They knew what was going on in my mind.
Wow. And in your body.
No matter what.
And in your body as well. As well. So there was one part where you said when they brought you back and you went back to your motorcycle.
Oh, when all was said and done. Yeah, when they brought me back.
And your motorcycle was still warm, like you had just set it down, and it just...
I sat there for about 30 minutes with the one that brought me back, because him and I had, on the way back to the planet, I take it, on our way back here, that's the most I meld, the two of us. That's when I was able to go and see other lifestyles and stuff I've done and lifetimes. I mean, it showed me I could go anywhere I wanted in my mind.
Wow.
And one place he took me to was a place with like 3 kingdoms. We went by it. I don't know the significance. We went by it. They were the size of galaxies, it looked like. There were 3 of them. They were lit in full glory, and I don't know what they were.
So they were showing you past lives that you've had. and
Yes.
and that you were in different places, even in a different world, right? Is that what they were showing you, that you were in a different world, or was it Earth that you were on?
Different worlds I've been on.
So,
I was. They showed me one, and it was one of my favorites. I was drawn to it. Where I died when I was young, but I was on a planet. I don't know. It seemed like I was always inside, and it was an underground house, and there were like glass tubes that connected all the cities. All I had to do was go get in the middle of the tube, and you would go scooting down through there. As a little kid, I would like to get out there and do it for fun, and I got in trouble.
Now,
things like that.
Earlier, you talked about the Anunnaki and what they were telling you, and the language and who they were. Now, I always talk. I think about this a lot now, and I always feel that. I always feel that we as humans now, or that we were put here on this earth, on this planet. We're from somewhere else, because our DNA is so different than everything else that's on this planet, right? So, and of course, like I tell you, we're different from a horse. We're different from a cow. We're different from a cat.
It's all perception,
right? And I feel that we were placed here a long time ago, right? Because now they're starting to find civilizations. Recently, they
200 million years.
Yeah, but
I saw a hammer come up the other day.
You saw this post that I posted the other day. Like, they dug down and they found this ancient civilization that was buried down there.
Those coal miners find them.
Yeah, but there was some in the Mexico area as well. You know, there were, and it wasn't AI. I could tell that this filming wasn't AI. This guy's doing an actual documentary where they're actually finding these different civilizations of a different kind of, and they're showing you different kinds of creatures of sort, and even us, different languages, things that we've never seen. And it says that even the AI cannot figure it out what language it is, right? So like what we're talking about here, you know, what they showed you in past lives in different planets, right? You know, do you think that we come from somewhere else?
I was allowed to experience the life and death of some kind of worm. All I know is that I was wiggling around. I didn't have any appendages. I just felt like I was wiggling around in a sleeping bag, and certain areas would taste better than others. And then I died, and it was like a bright explosion. It just total chaos for just a billionth of a second. And that was what it was his enjoyment, or that was what he liked to experience. And I think that after we die, we're on record. I think after we die, that our lives are going to be reviewed thousands, millions, billions times, every one of us.
Over and over.
I think everyone on the planet's been abducted at some point. I sure do, and I'm not the only one, you know, able to remember. Yeah.
Me and you were having a conversation before we hit the record button, but, you know, we're having a conversation about myself. You said, hey, man, have they been, when that last post that you posted, when you found that triangle on you, have they come back for you, or have they messed with you anymore, the extraterrestrials? And I answered, I said, no, I haven't had any more experiences after that, or even dreams or anything like that. I don't know if it was because I was being pulled in. I'm going to say the connection, right? I made the connection, not just with you, but I made the connection with other people like Ryan Keaton and everybody else, Regina, everybody that's out there, not just with Alien Strand, but just different folks that call me and talk to me about their experiences, that I was pulled in so deep to their experiences and their frequency. I'm going to say it that way, that I was able to tune in, and they were able to tune in to me as well, right?
You found
it. But since I've been so busy, my mind has been clouded with, of course, everyday thoughts.
The chaos of life.
The chaos of life, which is numbers and people and names and everything with my job that I have to do as a regular employee, right? So it's like my mind is not clear like it was, right? So, and for me to experience that, I do want to experience that again, and I am, because once I get freed from this, I will go back and I want to tune back into everything else and everything that I work so hard for to show the world. As far as the films, and then talking with you and talking with other people as well.
Oh, bless you, man. You do so much above and beyond to help this community.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you. Really, really. It's just, without you, I wouldn't have the answers, or I wouldn't have the piece of the puzzle that I need to try to figure out, okay,
today's ufologist will be tomorrow's preacher.
Exactly. Exactly.
Pretty much.
So,
I mean, there were a few things that I learned that I wrote down here on it. I wanted to get to you. Is that one question I asked is there was a curiosity about the universe, all these galaxies, and the one idea I got back was that I don't know that there was a big bang. Just everything is in its own time.
Wow.
Everything has its own gravity, its own time. That was one feeling that I got. And let me see.
Well, because you questioned the beginning, right? The beginning of everything.
Yeah, well, they wanted the one in the ship, my buddy there, he wanted me to go back if I was curious about history, and going back in history, how was this formed, this lake, that kind of thing. And I wasn't interested at all about going back in history. At that age, I just wanted to see now the advancements I want to see in the future.
Right.
And I'm not going to get to see the full disclosure. I'm supposed to be gone before that.
Wow. And it could be years before we all get to even experience that.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I'm ready for tomorrow, land on the White House. But then but that's what they told me. They wanted I asked if I wanted to know when I was going to die, because it was like I was given this thought of all the different questions that most people want to know. When am I going to die? And then about their religious icon or the average stuff. And I wasn't really interested, but even though I wasn't interested, he kind of gave me feelings about when. But well, what did I tell him? I told him I wanted to remember.
Right.
It was kind of a gift.
Right.
He was going to give me an answer to a question or something along that line. I told him I wanted to remember, and he was like, "That's very clever. That's very smart. That's good. You will, and it's." No one's going to believe you. You remember the full thing later in life, closer towards the big shell. Right. Is the way he kind of felt about it,
Wow. And that's the thing about, the remembrance of everything that you experienced, even if you were gone for, let's just say it could have been just a split second or maybe 5 seconds, and you were gone and back, but in really, and
there's that
reality.
World, the reality of sleeping.
Yeah. It's like you don't.
Did I lose you?
No, I'm right here.
Okay.
It's like you're still in the subconscious world, right? Have you ever noticed?
Yeah.
I got to say this, but have you ever noticed, like, when AI came out, right? Remember when it first came out a few years ago, and then we were showing Will Smith eating spaghetti, and it kind of looked weird, like, right? It would kind of, it couldn't put fingers together, or, it just kind of looked strange how it's something formed into something else, or maybe like the dog that played the drums or whatever. It just kind of looks weird, right? It kind of looks weird, right? But if you really, 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 really think about it, when you're dreaming, it looks just like that.
Right.
Things just form, and they just happen, and they just move, and it's basically
we don't even know where we go. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, wait a minute, man. The AI.
Well, they had control of that world.
Yeah.
They had control of my subconscious, because they did a test on me. I hadn't. This was a test. The first ones that picked me up looked a certain way, right? With the ones with no nose, and then there was. I was in a part of the ship where there were like 5 of these little chairs, and when you sit in it, they would light up, and my subconscious the way I understood it was my subconscious was flying this craft around outside of the craft, and it was like I had a fire button that I could push if something scared me, and they were trying to fly at me to scare me to see if I would shoot at them.
Wow.
And in my mind, they would be promoting it. Here, shoot them. You get it. And I shot, missed, hit, and then shot a second time, and it hit, and nothing happened. And I came back, and they were all congratulating me. It was like some kind of celebration.
Right.
And I don't know the significance of it.
Well, you were able to control the ship, for one. And then
I don't know.
And then fire whatever you were firing at it, but through your subconscious state, right?
In a dream state, yeah.
Right. And that's what I was talking about. The way it creates and it keeps on recreating as it goes, right? Now, us as human beings, right, in our conscious state, and right now, we're able to make that happen with AI. In other words, they were able to program a computer to build as it goes, right? So, ones and zeros and build as it goes. And now
our reality is supposed to be the same.
Right. And it builds as you tell it what to build and how to go. Right?
So, okay, now here's a big one. Now, if the aliens weren't watching us, would we exist?
That's true. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I thought about that the other day. I mean, if we're not looking at something, technically it doesn't exist. I mean, nothing can form. The light can't congeal into a form, a shape.
Well, you can't make nothing from nothing, right?
Make a wave,
right?
Yeah.
That's right. So it's part of the God theory, right? Nothing can't make nothing, right? It can't make something. So it's and it started somewhere where it started from the man upstairs, the Almighty, and then just kind of went from there, or it just went to these things where they're telling us, okay, this is how it happened, or this is possibly what you think is happening, but if you really think about it, everything is questioned, right? Everything is questioned. Yeah. Even them are questioning us, in a sense. So if you think about it, if they know everything, why are you going to question me? But they're questioning you for your own thoughts. They want to know what you're thinking at that moment.
Right. I think they, and I've heard of, what do you call them? Archons. I've heard of these, that they thrive on our emotional status.
Right.
I mean, the one when I went to sleep as that creature, whatever it was, and had hell scared out of me, I maybe that's just their form of entertainment, or maybe they feed on it somehow. And not that this one that was with me was an Archon. He was just like a regular little gray dude. And I think that's the one I told you that I was sharing the memory of the motorcycle crash. It said that's the one that was on record. And ever since then, I was goofing off on my daughter's game system, and I went on ahead. We played Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
And I decided to get that AI program where it simulate a guy named Trevor, because he's a prick, right? So I got this AI prick Trevor, we're talking, and no matter what you say or do, they always agree and always twist it for the better or in the direction that you expect. And that was the exact way that the creature I was with was communicating with me.
Wow.
Exact same line of talk. It's the only time I've run across that since it happened.
So you had like an
so
aha.
I wonder, yeah.
You had like an aha moment right there. Like started thinking about it.
Yeah, I pondered, that if he was even, if he was part android or something, AI, because that's the only other time I've heard anyone communicate in that style.
Yeah. Wow. Now, ever since then, have you had any more communications here recently? Anything has happened to you here recently as far as something off the unknown, the extraterrestrial world? Anything like that?
Over the house here, I had a drone, an orb, come by me and spit something out. stopped, then it stopped. Like it's almost sounded like it was hydraulically spitting something out, like a fire extinguisher.
Uh-huh.
Then it stopped, and that's back when all the clouds were showing up everywhere, this fog.
Right. Oh,
And,
yeah.
Yeah, this daggone fog was popping up everywhere, and then I look up, and here goes the drone, and it was on the window of my car, and it was like ash from a fire pit or something. You could blow it off, but it looked wet, so I can't.
Wow.
I don't know what it was, but that and one other time that I had an experience without, and I've seen them on and off over the years. I've had weird experiences. Given hindsight now, I look back and holy crap. But I was with a friend named Betty Jo, and I've mentioned you to her to you.
Right. I remember.
Her and I were lost in the woods walking, and I say lost, we're talking several hundred acres, and we just got our bearings turned around. I don't know how it happened. She grew up in these woods, and we were lost. We got lost bigger than hell, and then we came back and we felt funny. We came out on another section of road we wasn't even familiar with as far as walking that certain way, and then we started remembering little tidbits, and her and I were picked up. And I wasn't treated so nice. I was told to stand where I was. And they took her and went to the back of the ship. I remember that.
Oh, wow.
She remembers that. And I'll have that. I've mentioned several times about, coming forward with that. Maybe give her some closure, because she gets pure downright defensive.
Yeah, because it scared the hell out of her. That's why. It scared the hell out of her.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. There was like I was in the same little area kind of around there when I kind of came to, and there was a desk in front of me, about 4 foot tall, little console there with one sitting in front of it with kind of a something monitorish in front of him. But I couldn't see the front of it. But I started to move forward like I was familiar with the process. I couldn't believe it. It was like I was familiar with the process. Hey, let me in. And I felt my heart, felt like something had a hold to my insides. It was hurting. And the feeling I got was, you come any closer, and that's the end of you. I'll end you.
So you had a hostile experience. That was a hostile experience.
Damn right. I stood there. It felt like someone was squeezing my heart. I stood back and stood still, and she was in the back. Then about 5 minutes later, he says, "You want it? You want this, don't you?" And he plugged me in like the others did mentally for like 30 seconds. But that was like 2 hours of time for me in that state.
Wow.
But he gave me a taste of that, and then it was over with. She came back. She didn't say a word. She was standing and looking straight forward, and next thing you know, we're on the ground picking ourselves up. And we're brushing that, and I remember we're brushing the stuff off, and it's like, wow, I didn't know what'd we trip over? And it's like, I don't know. No, let's get to the house. I'm ready to go. And, we took off stomping. But she brought it up, and after a lot of thinking about it, that's exactly what happened.
So she had the memory of it. It didn't wipe her memory away. Sometimes it comes back. Sometimes it comes back slowly. Just like Betty Barney Hill was saying that her memories came back slowly after a time. So after an abduction,
taken me 30-something years.
Yeah, it'll come back. She says it'll come back to you. You don't have to do therapy or anything like that. It'll just little by little it'll come back. And she's right. She was right. She was right about that. Well, John, I hate for this conversation to end, but we're a little bit past our show. But it's okay. It was a great, amazing conversation.
Hey, we're not through here.
Oh, I know.
I love you, brother.
I love you too, man. And it's. I'm glad that you're able to talk about your experience, and even if somebody's out there that's experienced that as well,
it feels wrong.
Yeah, and at least you're there and you're here on Alien Strand to explain it to people in a sense to where even if somebody's experiencing the same thing as you, that it's okay. You know, it's not
Yes.
it's not bad, you know, to talk about it. Sometimes it is good to talk about it because that way you can
Stay positive.
Yeah, get out, stay positive, and that's what I like to do to folks, and just keep everybody on a positive vibe, and so do you. I mean, you're a good person, good guy. You know, you help out a lot. You do everything as much as you could. Now you're brand new grandpa as well, you know, which is amazing.
Right.
You know, and that's the good thing about being a good human being. You know, even though you experienced something bad, you know, you came out on top and victorious. I see it that way, you know, as an amazing human being.
I think too.
I think so. But thank you, John. You got anything else to say to anybody out there maybe that's listening?
I'll tell you, if you're interested in ufology, if you're curious as to what's going on, if you're curious as to what's going to happen soon, please join Alien Strand 2, and Donald Ledesma, you're the man. Thank you, son. Thank you, brother.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, brother. Well, we're going to go ahead and let you go. And, you know, we had an amazing conversation, and we're going to have another one, you know, maybe next week.
Yeah, anytime.
We'll keep on talking about some of these things anything you remember that you forgot. And if we can get, like you said, that's a different show. We can.
Yeah, we'll have to talk. I'm willing to talk about that.
All right,
we'll do that on another day.
That's good. All right, you have yourself a good night, brother, and anyway, we'll talk to you soon.
I love you, sir. I love you, sir. You take care of yourself.
All right, love you too.
Good night, Alien Strand.
Good night, brother. All right, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed this amazing podcast that I had with Mr. John Dickinson. And, you know, he spilled his guts on everything that he experienced. He's a great person, like I was talking about, a great human being. And, you know, he got everything on the table. Not everything, because he still has a lot more stories, you know, and it's the internal memories that they left behind, almost like your SD card, right? That they left behind for him to remember, right? And that's what this whole story was about, was his memories. Because those memories are very important and very precious to everyone, right? And I hope you guys enjoyed and got a lot out of this conversation that I had with Mr. Dickinson. You know, he wanted to talk about it. He gets excited when he gets on Alien Strand. You can't hear it in his voice, but he's excited because he wants to tell the story and he wants you to hear what happened to him. And he doesn't change anything. I've already had him on a few times. Same story, same thing. Nothing changes in his story, which means this did happen to him, because every detail and everything that he talks about is exactly the same. So this is how we know that when people experience an extraterrestrial abduction or an encounter, that the story doesn't change, it stays the same. And when we put the pieces of the puzzle together, like we did earlier on how these extraterrestrials eat and what I talk about, and then he brings it up later, right? This is validation showing that these entities do exist out there in our solar system, in our skies, in our atmosphere, below our feet, even walk amongst us. And those are the things we have to look out for at times. And to make sure that our eyes are open, our minds are open. Always keep an open mind, always, no matter what. And we watch around our surroundings and become good people. And we're able to express ourselves through podcasts like these and other podcasts as well, which we really enjoy at times. But this is the important part about Alien Strand Podcast, because they're giving you their detailed encounter, which is everything that you need to hear. This is what makes Alien Strand different than any other podcast out there. And remember that. But thank you guys for listening to today's show. Remember to click on all my links on the comment section or on the description of this podcast today with Mr. John Dickinson. But, you know, it was a great show, man. I really enjoyed it. Please share it with your friends. Listen on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Deezer, Amazon Music. You can catch Alien Strand anywhere, or just Google Alien Strand Podcast. Yes. Or you can even Google me, Donald Ledesma. Just Google my name and see what pops out. Yeah, it's going to be me in all my films. The Middle. That's right. So go check out those films on Amazon Prime. Everywhere else you can find them, give us a thumbs up. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast as much as I loved giving you all the information. But until then, you guys have yourselves a good day. Have yourselves a good evening. And have yourselves a good night.
About CE5 and extraterrestrial contact. Download my new book. Now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, and 14 other platforms. Book authored by Donald Ledesma. CE5, Frequencies of Contact.